packaging is so weird.
You're so sweet.
Hello honey bunches, here we are again. I know I wear this outfit in like every video. It does get washed, just a chance. And I feel like I've only been to the op shop once this year, and even if I'm not sort of like buying new garments to incorporate, inspiration for having a bit of fun with what I wear just sort of lacking at the moment. It's Sunday. I just finished reading A Single Man, which might sound familiar from the Colin Firth film a while ago. I haven't seen it. I probably will watch it. It looks like, because this is spanned in a day and it's a whole 152-page chapter. I really liked it because the character, I haven't really read anything from that type of person's perspective. I think he's like 40 something, and George, he's British, some sort of professor, university professor, and he lives in California. It's understood in the book, and you find out more that he's lost his lover Jim, and he's just like observations on the world are really quite amusing and entertaining, so I really recommend it. But yeah, I probably will watch the film even though it's a Weinstein Company one. That was a good little novel to read. My next book that I'm going to read is Sand Talk, recommended by a friend, which I think I'd heard about in a podcast a while ago, but I just didn't follow it up. It's how Indigenous thinking can save the world, and it comes highly recommended. And not to be shallow, but I really like that it's not too dense for a non-fiction one, because I will read it now, but I want a few more novels in my life. I also bought, on the same wavelength as learning about how Indigenous thinking and ways of living can be beneficial in a myriad of ways, I bought Braiding Sweetcakes, which you've probably heard of. This week's been good. Made some really good recipes, like a custard tart, an orange almond cake with an almond cream in the middle. Probably my favourite cake ever, so good. Nutted out a way of making cookies. I love cooking with chickpea flour because in the gluten-free sense it's so helpful in giving a cake or cookie texture like gluten, but the draw card is that it has a bit of a rank smell / taste, and it doesn't really matter if you weren't as fussy as I am, but like, this is the thing, I've become so critical of my own cooking to be able to make recipes I'm really truly happy with, and things like the bee's knees, and I really don't get judgy at all about food that anyone else has cooked me, because that's just like, thank you, I don't have to cook, yay. I do enjoy cooking, but it's just like feels like a vessel of edible love, and that's great. But when my own cooking is like good but not great, I'm just like, oh, it might as well be, you know, half a star. Anyway, the cookies, found a great mix of flours, gluten-free flours, that make a chewy on the inside, crunchy on the outside cookie, but without any rank chickpea flour taste. Thank you. But I don't think my ratio of sweet things to savoury things, also the savoury things get eaten up like that because lunch and dinner, whereas the sweet things don't get eaten up as fast. My skin's a bit like, stop. And usually I would drop some off to friends, but they're outside the 5k radius that we're living in this stage 4 lockdown, so just a bit of an interesting thing to navigate. This morning I went for a nice walk, made friends with a cat, got some clips for my documentary. Then today I'm having a Skype with a friend, making some banana bread, planning my next week of recipe testing. I've got about 40 recipes done. Just the sort of bizarre thing I don't really quite know how to navigate yet is that for a book proposal, you don't need to design it, but I'm quite a visual person and I hate cookbooks where there's no pictures in them. And for me, if there's no picture, then sort of like the recipe doesn't exist, or it has no power to draw the reader in and get them to make it. I'll feel like I'm submitting something that's half the fun, even though the recipes will be really good. But we'll see. This is all an experiment. Anyone have any experience in publishing a book? Hit me up. I do know places that you can just submit your proposal, like Allen and Olwen. There's quite a few, so that's kind of what I'll be doing if you're like, but what's she doing? This is all very vague. Last night I watched with Mum the Helen Reddy film, I Am Woman. I actually only watched the first 2/3 of it because I wanted to go to bed. I feel like it might have been edited in a slightly, also it's quite low budget compared to other music biopic films, but definitely been edited in a way for the streaming home viewer. I really liked what I saw, but it was just very like depressing of all the casual sexism, which is great that it's included because it's realistic, but it's just a bit tiresome because it's not like we haven't got enough of that in real life. Another book came in the mail this week. Hooray! I know might seem a bit late, but it wasn't coming out in Australia until the day it arrived actually, so they timed that well in the shipping department. I'll talk more about it in a proper book review. I think I've tabbed 18 recipes I want to make. I'm not as excited about it as the past ones, but the same vein, I think it's their best book ever. I'm just a bit bummed, not that I really read it, I've just done a speed glance. There's not really any new techniques that I can learn from it, and in the past that's what I've been like, thank you Ella for, such as being able to whip coconut yogurt. I've really extrapolated on that into lots of recipes, which are such a hoot. She's really helped me understand how buckwheat flour works in baking. And the role that aquafaba, like when it has a good place in baking. Anyway, there's some delicious stuff, and I shall make I made 18 recipes from the book and reviewed it video, but that probably won't come out in a while because I will be filling it in between recipe testing and developing. So got so much cooking on my plate, which is great, but I really hope something concrete comes out of this year with all the things I'm submitting. Anyway, my mum, as I hinted in the last video, my mum is making me a granny square crocheted cardigan. I'm so keen, who wouldn't be? There's this incredible Etsy shop called TikTok Knits, which if you crochet and you don't know about, you're missing out on something there. She essentially sells vintage from like 70s, 80s crochet patterns, but like makes them readable. I haven't got a great vocab today. Refurbishes, whatever, the pattern in a PDF, and they're really reasonable and they have sick patterns. So we found this one for a granny square crochet cardigan that's quite long, but my mum's not going to do the bottom 2 rows, so it will be more this length, which is really my type of thing and suits my body shape better because I have actually quite short legs and a longer torso than even tall people, so that will be great, and in my colours too. Anyway, check in with you later. I'm just doing a bit of mapping out of our big veggie garden reno, I guess, that we'll be doing at the end of spring, summer type time. Essentially it's like a, like an oblong or rectangle that's been tilted on its sides at the end to try and, well, A, be a nice shape, and B, sort of dodge the really large trees shade that they bear in summer. And my initial plan had, so our like front fence is here, and then the stone beds that we have are here, and I thought paths this way would make more sense, but I think while that might make for ease for us, it would look a bit weird because everything's quite horizontal, or it's a horizontal space, so I think aesthetically it would be nicer if it had the main paths going that way with maybe tiny ones going this way for picking and, you know, a bit of foot traffic. And so I was just planning out where everything's going to go in 2 different plans, kind of keeping in mind what will need more water and maybe putting that together and closer to the water tanks and optimal sun, and then there's some things that will be on stands like borlotti bean. Tomatoes will need a bit of support. We're going to try and grow a watermelon. It's an heirloom variety called Moon and Stars, and it literally looks like it's like this deep emerald green, and then it looks like someone's got yellow paint like splattered it across with their paintbrush. Super cool. But yeah, might be biting off more than we can chew, but I'm keen. So we're going all out. Anyway, I'm just gonna go outside and like step it out. Cozy. I'm like, I'm sitting in the windows, I'm ready for the rain, and it's coming. And then so like maybe they recognize me from like school or something. It's like, no, like they would have said if they did. I'm like, you just shut that down. Like you didn't have to even shout. Hello again. I've just done the rather long-winded task of planning out every recipe I intend to have a go at this week and make the shopping list. But you know what they say, however many minutes planning, the ratio pays off in time saved, and that's definitely true. It's a bit of a snooze doing it at the end of the weekend. We've done a month now of stage 4. Hopefully only 2 weeks to go. Just really don't want us to open up too quick. Another wave just happened. Even though all the other states in Australia are okay, so it is possible. Anywho, I'm gonna go do a bit of puzzle and go to bed. So thank you for watching. Thank you to my patrons for your support, and thank you for not complaining too much while we do some hardly that exciting vlogs until stage 4 lockdown ends and I'm not in recipe developing mode so much. Okay, bye.